Did I put the GoPro too close? No, I didn't shoot it. Yes! Hello everyone, Rob from Field Sports with Speed. This year I've decided to do a little bit more with the 410 gauge, so I'm going to book in to the British Championships in August and see if I can put in a half decent score. I'm going to need a 410. I've already got a 410, the little Mossberg pump action, which you might have seen in the crow shooting videos, but this isn't really the right gun for clay shooting. So what I've done is I've had a look around and I've decided on going for one of these. It's a Kofs Sceptre, little over and under 410. It's a budget gun. It's a cheap Turkish gun, but they're good for a bit of shooting. You know, yes, they're not going to last forever. They're not my number one choice. I do like a bit of quality because I want something to last, but this gun realistically isn't going to get a lot of use. So I've got one of these now. I'm going to put it together now, brand new out the box, and let's have a look over it. So we have got the stock and receiver, the barrel and the fore end, and a little case with the little itty ditty chokes and a little choke key. So looking over it to start with, it is a 3-inch chamber. It's steel proof. I'm glad it's 3-inch because let's face it, I'm going to need as much lead in those cartridges as possible. Putting it together, nice and simple. Just hook that into there, close her up, fore end on there, and catch her shut. So there we go. There is the little Kofs Sceptre. It's a nice looking little gun actually. It's a fairly basic bit of wood. The engraving's nice, but to be quite honest, I'm not really that bothered about that. I don't need it to look nice, I just need it to do what I want it to. The reason that I have gone for one of these is purely because it's cheap. You know, I can't afford to go for a set of blazer barrels as much as I'd love to. And they won't give me one because apparently I'm not good enough. And like I said before, it's not going to get a lot of use, so this sat in the cabinet, it's not going to hurt. I chose this over like a Yildiz or the little Hugaloos or other ones I've had in the past because this has got a little bit of weight to it. So if I can show you now, if I was to show you how unbalanced this is, it really does go forward like that. Normally on most other, especially 12 gauge guns, I wouldn't want it to do that. I'd want it balanced dead on that pin so that recoil's coming back nicely and it feels well balanced between the hands. But with this being such a light small gauge, I quite like that weight forward because that gives me a little bit more handling quality up front, so I can move it steadier. I can actually feel the gun to move it nicely. The gun weighs in at £5 10 ounces, so considerably lighter than the gun I'm used to shooting, but it's a different caliber. It's a small gauge caliber, so I'm going to shoot this completely different to my 12 gauge. There's a couple of things that I've got a smart person I know to help me with, and they have put a little mid bead on there and a little red bead at the end. So thank you, Gadge, I appreciate it. But I've got this done because I want it to replicate my own gun. I want like the sight picture to be exactly like my 12 gauge, and now it is. It is actually a left-hand stock as well, so the Casco's left-handed and it fits me really nicely actually. I mount it up just nice and slowly, looking down there. I'm looking straight down that. In a minute we're going to go out over to the ground and we're going to test some cartridges through the 5 different chokes we get with the gun. Talking about chokes, obviously I've got 2 in the gun and then I have got 3 more here and this little cool choke key which is like a ninja tool. But yeah, what I want to do, the main purpose of this video is I'm going to test each choke at 30 yards because, you know, 30 yards is a good range for a 410. It's a most sporting clays are within 30 yards. So, you know, let's test it. I'm going to use a good quality cartridge So what I'm going to be using is the Hull High Pheasant in a 7-shot 18-gram fibre wad. So the reason for me using these, they're a good premium cartridges. A lot of people who I know who shoot 410 have said that these are awesome, so I'm going to give them a go. I did scrimp on the pattern boards this time. I've actually just got a big cardboard box, cut out loads of bits of paper and put a little pen mark in the middle. It's going to do the same job as a pattern board. All I want to do is shoot at that black blob and see how they pattern. So we're going to need this, we're going to need these. Let's go and see what they do. Right, first one, 30 yards, skeet choke. First shot with the little 410, I've got a skeet choke in the bottom barrel and a quarter choke in the top. So I'm going to load it up with 2 of these, and we'll have the, well no I won't, I'll load it up with 1 because I'm not going to be able to do the pattern plate that quick, am I? So I'm going to load this up with 1 in the bottom chamber, that's the skeet choke. Let's fire it. We're on bottom barrel selected. Let's see how it patterns. That's the skeet pattern. It's not too bad. I think we could do a little bit tighter. Let's have a go with the quarter. On to the quarter choke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick that over to the over barrel, and that has got the quarter choke in. So I'm going to stick one of these bad boys in the top barrel and let her rip. Woo! So I've used the rangefinder on the thermal to actually know it's a definite 30 yards to keep it as accurate as possible. This is the quarter pattern plate. Oh, maybe I did pull that a little bit high. But look at that, that is tightening up. A little bit of a hole there, but it's looking better with the tight of the choke. So that's the quarter done. I'm going to twiddle out, oh god, I've got it mucky already. What an amateur. I'm going to twiddle out these little skeet and quarter with this little ninja looking tool and get the 1/2 and 3/4 in. So there we are. There is the 1/2, which is going in the bottom barrel, and that is the 3/4 going in the top. There we go, tightened into the gun. Let's try them out. 30 yards, 1/2 choke. Let's go. I don't know if we can see that, but that is now the 1/2 in the bottom and 3/4 in the top. I'm going to swap that selector back over to the underbarrel first. The target's out. Let's get it loaded up and send it. Ooh. I can confirm the ejectors work. Well, look at that 1/2 choke. That is a nice even distribution there. I think that is getting on the best yet. Onto the 3/4. Onto the top barrel where I have got a 3/4 in. That's empty. Amateur. There we go. Did I put the GoPro too close? No, I didn't shoot it. Yes! 3/4. Now to me, that doesn't look as tight as the half, so this is where my first sort of main concern is. If I if I choke the gun too tight, is it going to start deforming the lead and blowing the pattern? Well, that to me says yes, but I'm going to obviously look at them all and compare them all side by side, and then we can all, you know, make a decision for ourselves. But that's the 3/4, last one to go, onto the full choke. Let's get this on there and have a look. Last shot then, guys. So I've put the full choke in the bottom barrel, if that will focus. Let's load it up with a cartridge. Last shot, let's see how it goes. Swap that to under barrel. Auto safe, need to take that off. All done. That's the full choke. I mean, that doesn't look very full to me. I was really expecting a full choke to be a real sort of slugged pattern, funnily enough. But this is what this is all about. I'm doing this just for everyone to make their own decision on it. And I'll make my own decision off it. At the end of the day, I'm going to be the one shooting the gun for Clay. Hopefully I'll shoot a few birds with it as well, hopefully next season. That's what my aim is. But I want to shoot Clays with the gun, so I only need to break it in half, but I don't want to see holes in the pattern, because then I'm going to lose confidence. So I'm going to go back, analyze all these. Analyze, that sounds really strategic. I like that. I'm going to go and look at these patterns now. I'll put some black pen on them and make it look really clear as to where all the holes are, and we'll look at them all side by side and we'll see which one we think's best. So the results are in. Let's have a look. So there we go, all shot at 30 yards, skeet, quarter, half, 3/4 and full choke. And what you'll be able to see is there really isn't that much difference between them all. The skeet is a little bit holy, as you would expect it to be. That one I have pulled a little bit high, but the quarter is nice and dense up here. Like, look at this pattern, there's nothing getting through there. And the half the same, I think I've pulled the shot a little bit to the right, but it's a nice dense pattern. 3/4, as we said out in the field, or I said out in the field, it is a little bit gappy, and you sort of half feel like maybe the pattern's starting to blow. But then onto the full, it's sort of tightened up again, and it's quite a nice dense pattern. But it's not what I expected from a full choke. I thought it was going to be a really nice, dense, thick pattern, but it isn't. As you can see from that, that is just sort of normal. You know, compare, if I grab the skeet pattern and compare it to the full, it's not that much different. So a really good exercise, I feel. You know, I thought it was going to be something it's not. Looking at those patterns, I think I'm going to go 1/4 and half. I don't see why not. The patterns seem to be thrown well. Yes, I've only tested it with one cartridge, but it is a 7-shot. That's about a standard sort of load for clay shooting, and what 410 cartridges there are on offer. 7s are pretty much the only one that's going to be small enough to do it. They're the most pellets you're going to get in a 3-inch, and like you can see, the patterns are fairly decent. So I'm going to give it a go. Next time you see it, we'll be out on the clays. Let's go and see what damage it can do. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next video.